What's up, Colin?
What up? How's it going,
Hey,
man?
good. How are you doing?
I'm all right, hanging in there.
Yeah. How's train going for you?
It's been great. It's been great. Yeah, honestly, I feel like I've been hitting my stride the last couple of weeks. Body's feeling good, ready to rip a nice 5K this weekend.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, having a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw you ran recently. You did 420 mile like end of January in Youngstown, right? And then you did more recently you did the 823 and 3K in Akron.
Yeah, trying to
Yeah,
get these marathoner legs moving. It's not,
yeah, trying to get faster on those lower distances.
yeah, exactly. A nice way to get fit, just race into fitness. But yeah, just a little shock to the system, I suppose. Get the legs
Yeah,
moving a bit and make the slower paces feel easier.
that's a good idea. Yeah, so you said you have this 5K coming up. Do you have any goals in mind for this race or?
Yeah, I mean, I think just a really good hard effort, I think, is going to be the biggest thing for me. I haven't obviously raced a 5K in a really long time as well. And thankfully, having gone down in distance, I feel like obviously you get to slow down just ever so slightly, but
Mhm.
it still feels like a sprint to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think just trying to hang tough, through 3 or 4K. And I think somewhere in the low 14s would be a really, really great day.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. What sort of competition will there be in this race? You think it's gonna be a quick one?
Yeah, I think so. It sounds like they're setting some guys up to run around 14:15 or 14:20. And I
Okay.
think it'd be, a good opportunity for me to mix it up with people like that. I don't come in with a very strong PR in terms of like the other people in the field right now, but
Mhm.
I think I'm fit enough to mix it up with those guys and just see how fast we can go.
Yeah. Um, you know, looking forward, like what's your peak race that you kind of have in mind right now? Do you have a big one on the horizon or?
Yeah, so the plan right now is this big build for the USATF 15K championships.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the really big focus right now, and that's at the beginning of March.
Okay.
So that'll be, I think it's March 5th. That's
Mm.
on a Saturday. And then after that, probably take a down week just to kind of reset and get ready for some outdoor races. And the end goal, obviously, being the marathon in the fall. So everything's kind of building towards obviously a really, really good marathon, but it's nice to race some fast stuff and feel fit and, try and race some fast people on the way.
Okay, nice. Yeah, do you have a marathon in mind for the fall, or is that kind of just up in the air right now since it's a ways down the line?
It's a little bit in flux, I would say. I think the lead candidate right now is Indianapolis.
Okay.
But I had a really, really great time in Philadelphia. I thought it was a
Mm.
great course. I have a lot of friends out there who really enjoy racing out there. And I had a great experience. That was my first marathon this past fall. So I would definitely go back. But I think Indianapolis would also be another really great opportunity. It's just going to be a matter of, what the setup is going to look like this fall and, the timeline for what everyone else on the team at Pittsburgh Track Club is going to be doing too.
Okay. Yeah. For the record, Colin balled out at the Philly Marathon last year, ran a 220 in his debut. It was a great race for you. I know you weren't like fully happy about it, but I mean, we'll get into that in a bit. But let's just take it back. I kind of want to hear your origin story because I've heard bits and pieces like that you ran for Michigan for some time, and but I never really heard the full story. So, like, when did it all begin? How'd you get into running?
Yeah. So it was my twin brother, Ethan, really, that got me into running. So believe it or not, Chicken Arms right here was playing football in seventh grade.
Oh man,
Um,
just like Dylan.
yeah, yeah. Um, and that was the fall of seventh grade. And then my twin brother, Ethan, had run cross country that fall and was already having a lot of success, but he kind of recruited me to come out for the track team that spring. And then my parents, being the very smart diplomats that they are, came out to me in the fall going into eighth grade. And they were like, you know what, Colin, we want to support any passion that you have, including football. Absolutely. But if you want, I think it would be great to like try a different sport, obviously knowing that football was not going to be the answer for me and just see if you like it. And that way, if you get to freshman year of high school and you want to commit to football, great. Knowing full well that I was probably just gonna stick out cross country. My parents were very smart and obviously still are, but
What'd you play in
um,
football?
I was a quarterback for about 2 weeks
You're a
until
quarterback. Okay.
yeah, I
Respect.
was trash. Oh, come on, the pool is so small. But
That's
yeah, I was a
awesome.
quarterback and I played corner on defense, so we played both sides of the ball.
Wow. Okay. I
Yeah,
mean, cornerback, that's no joke. That's a tough defensive position. So,
it was interesting to say the least.
anyway, you continue.
Yeah. No. So everything kind of really went well. I had, a great support system at Dorseyville, kind of our middle school. Guys named Pete Shiner and Matt Lepatka, who are still just legends in my book. They're just the kindest and most supportive coaches I think that any middle school program could possibly have.
Hmm.
And it just set me up really, really well heading into freshman year of high school. And I really wouldn't say I found myself at all until maybe I was a junior in high school.
Mm, mm.
So Ethan was having a bunch of success our freshman year, and I think he was top 8 or top 5 at Whitfields our freshman year in the 3200,
Well,
which was
how much
awesome.
older is he than you?
Just a minute, just a minute.
Just
Yeah,
a minute.
twins.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly
Okay.
right. So it's
All right.
close.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no. It was really, really great for him. We were really stoked, and he kind of caught the eye of a coach in the area named John Wilkie, who had kind of recruited him to continue running under him.
Mm,
So Wilkie kind of invited me just to kind of come along for the ride, not really anticipating anything coming out of my career. But yeah, just kind of kept working, and by the time senior year rolled around, Ethan and I were neck and neck the entire time, just competing with each other all the time, and it was always very healthy competition. But it was honestly just the most fun I've had racing. It was really, really cool to get to race Ethan all the time.
yeah. Were you coached under John Wilkie, after initially going with your brother Ethan?
Yeah, exactly. So it was our sophomore year that we kind of transitioned to working under Wilkie while still obviously running
Okay.
for Fox Chapel, right? So
Okay.
you know, our team at Fox Chapel did a great job of just kind of integrating Coach Wilkie into the program.
Mm, mm,
And Ethan and I would do some more workouts with Wilkie's group, either out at North Park or at North Hills or even Shaler. Some of the other tracks that we would venture out to every once in a while. But
mm.
yeah, it was just a nice opportunity to get some extra training and a little bit more guidance in our development as runners before heading off to college.
Yeah. So were you kind of overseen mostly by him in your high school career, or were you also being coached, under your Fox Chapel coach?
Yeah, so it was a mix of pretty much everybody in the program too. So
Mm,
we had this guy named Tom Mole, who's just incredibly bright and has taken the program just so incredibly far. I think it was within 2 years of me and Ethan leaving, he had won a state title with the girls in cross country,
oh my
kind of
gosh,
using
that's
the
awesome.
same plan that Ethan and I were raised on.
Mm,
So Coach Mole has done just an incredible job with their program. But yeah, so it was a mix of working with Coach Mole and Coach Wilkie kind of simultaneously,
mm.
and getting training from both of them. That was
Yeah. I feel like
kind of,
that's like not too common where you kind of have like two really good coaches working on you in high school.
you're absolutely right. I think it's really easy for personalities to clash. And I think with
Mm,
running, it seems like, there's a few different camps of like, all right, this is how to do it, and I will die on this hill
yeah. Yeah.
if I have to. So yeah, to get two people working together like that was really special, and I think it really paid dividends
Mm.
for my career and my twin brother Ethan's career too.
Yeah. Initially when Ethan said you should run in middle school, did he see something in you like that you'd be a good runner? Like were you quick on the field, or did he
I
just kind
don't.
of think maybe because he was good that you'd be good?
Yeah, I don't think so. Honestly, I think Ethan and I just really liked being around each other.
Mm,
And me and Ethan are still obviously super, super close. We call each other literally every single day and usually
mm.
multiple times a day. Um, so I think it was just another opportunity for us to do things together. And we both really liked that idea. So yeah, I think that was pretty much it.
Mm. Is he still running as well?
Ethan is still running, not competitively, but he is
Okay.
still really fit. So he moved
Okay.
out to Denver
Mm.
about, what was it, I guess 3 months ago now, 4 months ago. And goodness, he comes down from altitude, and I swear to God, he can just rip workouts with me. So he's doing really, really well. We did a K workout over Christmas break, and he was still doing 75% of the workout with me, which was just
Wow.
amazing. Yeah.
Did you? He didn't go to Denver for running, right? Or
No, no,
he
yeah,
just wanted to live there and then
exactly
okay.
right.
I
Yeah,
figured as
just an
much, but I was just
opportunity
curious.
while he was young, wanted to take advantage of it. So
Yeah. Yeah. So what were some of your biggest successes in Fox Chapel? I mean, I know you were pretty quick.
yeah, we had a really good thing going. I think I was very, very fortunate to just land with some great coaches and a great support system. But yeah, I was kind of following in my brother's footsteps for a while. Ethan had won a couple of Whippeal titles um, in on the track
Mm, mm,
our junior year, and then he went on to win the state outdoor 3,200 meter title. And I think that was like obviously Ethan's huge break.
yeah.
But I think I was just trying to like silently stalk behind him while all that was happening. Um, and I was really sad my senior year because Ethan unfortunately ended up having an Achilles injury.
Mm,
So he couldn't come back and defend his outdoor title. But it was still a decent season for me. So senior year ended up winning cross country and the 3,200 meter titles for the Whitfield. And I think I did okay at states. I remember being really disappointed in cross country.
mm,
Um, I think going in, the expectation was always, we want to fight for the win. And I think I was maybe top 5 or top 10. And I honestly forget, but I remember being a little bit disappointed. So kind of carrying that weight into the outdoor season and just trying to run as fast as I can. Um, and I'd probably say breaking 9 in the 3,200 was probably the biggest highlight of the career to cap it off. I think that was something that my coach had really wanted for his athletes his
mm.
entire career. So to be able to do that with him, I think was really special.
That's an epic time. Sub
Yeah.
9, especially in high school. I mean, that's not too common.
And that's what's crazy, dude. I feel like it's getting more and more common. I
Oh
swear, like
yeah, definitely.
whenever I was in high school, and probably even when you were in high school, still it wasn't terribly common. But I feel like hundreds of
Mhm.
kids around the country are doing it now, especially out west. It's nuts.
Yeah, why do you think that is? Just out of curiosity. I mean, there's so many theories. I feel everyone says something like, "Oh, it's the shoes, like it's the new carbon fiber plated shoes." Other people just say like training has been modernized and it's kind of better than it used to be. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's tough. It's really, really tough. I can't say it's all shoes. I wish I could cop out and be like, oh yeah, it's just the shoes. No, I think people are just running really, really well right now.
mm,
Grant Fisher taking down like the American record. Like all of this is great for the sport. But
100%.
it's really, really great. No matter how we're doing it, I think having Americans running
Yeah,
this well right now has
yeah,
got to be good news for everybody, no matter how we're doing it.
yeah. We're doing awesome right now. I mean,
Yeah,
things are looking up for us. Before we just used to get crushed, but I feel like we're really making a statement this year, and
yeah. To
everyone's
have
doing well.
to have a couple Americans now under 13 minutes in the 5K is bananas. Like,
It's whack.
yeah.
And Grant Fisher apparently like he ran a 3:59. Like, did you hear what Mohammed said about him?
No, what was that?
He said this kid ran a 3:59 off of soccer and a few 400s
Oh yeah,
in
yeah,
high
yeah.
school. That blows my mind. I had no idea. I mean, he's an incredible talent, but I just thought that was so funny.
Totally. Yeah, and I feel like it's like Grant Fisher, people like Justin Knight too. I've
Mm-hmm.
heard things about Justin Knight's training, especially before he was going to college. I mean, he was running like 25, 35 miles a week or something like that. I mean, just obviously there's a difference between some people and they're just God-given talent, right?
Yeah.
And you're just blessed with that gift, and then you throw some like really solid training on top of it. Yeah, you're born to run fast at that point.
Yeah. What would you give for a ratio for yourself from talent to hard work out of
Oh
100?
gosh. Uh,
I mean, you're
I feel
definitely
so
talented.
lucky.
You're definitely very talented.
I feel incredibly lucky. I know plenty of people that work just as hard, if not harder, than I do. To put a number on it would be so tough. But I feel like I work really, really hard. I feel like I work really, really hard. But I know there's plenty of people that work infinitely harder than me. So I have to be very grateful for the position that I'm in to be able to keep competing and just to be healthy, I think is quite a blessing.
Yeah. All right. Moving on from high school, get back on this origin story. What was your collegiate career like?
Yeah, it was interesting to say the least. Yeah, so I think the biggest story heading into my freshman year of college was I was recruited by Alex Gibby, who's now kind of tearing it up in the Ivy League at Harvard. He was now the head coach there and doing really, really well. But I was recruited by Alex Gibby to come to Michigan. And both Ethan and I signed and committed to Michigan right with Gibby. And I think the one thing that really impressed me about him was he came to my house. Gibby came to my house and had dinner with my family. Like that kind of blew me away. And
That's
I
awesome.
obviously I had a really, really great experience on my official visit. I was staying with some guys on the team that are still really, really close friends of mine. And I just fell in love with it. But right as I was about to come in the fall of my freshman year, Coach Gibby was let go, and a new coach and absolute running legend, Kevin Sullivan, was hired. So there was this kind of 2 or 3 week period where all the guys in my class were kind of like, oh, shoot, like, what do we do? Is everyone going to stick this out? Are we just going to do this? I mean, because you're going in blind at that point. And I think ultimately that was the downfall of everything for me. But basically, to summarize, I mean, I ended up kind of being injured the majority of my short collegiate career at Michigan. So I ended up running for about 2 years there. And then going into my junior year, I had gone home for a weekend and it was just decision time. And I said, you know what, this isn't going to work out for me. And I decided to leave the team. And at that point, my brother had already left the team as well due to injury. It was just kind of an unfortunate kind of all coming together to produce this environment that wasn't perfect for my career or Ethan's career even.
Yeah. Do you think you guys were kind of like the guinea pigs for him, having just come into your program?
Yeah, I
Or
mean, I not even guinea pigs. I think Coach Sullivan is extremely bright, and he has a very specific way of coaching. And it was just a way that I didn't mesh with. I have absolutely no hard feelings with the team or anything. It just wasn't a fit. And if I can offer any advice to anyone who's in the recruiting process, it's like that environment matters so much, and you want to mesh with your team. But I think honestly, the most important thing that you understand going into college, if you're going to be running competitively, is you have to have a good relationship with that coach. If you're not on the same page, then you're not going to have the career that you want, because they're ultimately going to dictate what your life is like, how many miles a week you're running, what kind of workouts you're doing. And if that doesn't work for you, it's just a recipe for disaster. And you know what? That's just the learning experience that I had.
How did you feel you meshed well with Giddy? Or is his name Giddy? Alex Giddy, you
Gibby.
said?
Yeah,
Okay.
Gibby, with two B's. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a continuation, honestly. It felt like of the training that I was doing in high school. So relative to other, probably high school programs, I would say that we were decently high mileage in high school. By the time we were in senior year, it was, about 60 to 70 miles a week, which was a lot for me back then. And Gibby was the exact same way. So he really prioritized strength in training, and didn't focus quite as much on speed. Like that was definitely, later on in the season, but it wasn't a huge focus. Where I feel like with Coach Sullivan, that was huge. Like power and speed was a really, really big part of his training. And you don't need to look any further than a workout like the Michigan. Are you familiar with that
Of course.
workout?
Oh yeah. I've done it before.
So, I mean, just absolutely ripping from the first rep, and then, building that strength, obviously, with those 2K repeats. But I mean, that was maybe 2 or 3 weeks into the season, we were ripping at Michigan.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it was tough. It
That's
was
like the
really,
one
really
I
tough.
throw at the end.
Yeah, right.
Or like
I mean,
halfway,
and dude, that works for some people. Like people like Mason Furlick, Ben Flanagan, they thrived under that. See, like you can't deny that it works. It just didn't work for me.
Yeah. So what do you feel you thrive under? mean, I think I kind of got the answer from what you've already said,
Yeah,
but to
I'm
explicitly state.
yeah, no, I'm definitely, I feel like a strength-based runner. I've never considered myself like a kicker or someone who has a bunch of speed. Look no further than a 420 mile. For me, like I feel like someone who might be able to run, a 220 marathon. I don't know what the equivalent race performance would be, but I mean, like you'd think like sub 410 at the very
Yeah,
least,
yeah,
you know. Um, but I've never considered myself a speed guy, and I definitely pride myself on, um, just being the strongest person in the field. Like I hope that by the time I get to marathons in the fall, that it's just kind of like metronome ticking the whole way. You want to clock off 5:15s just for 20 miles. That's all you got to do. And that's kind of tends to be my bread and butter.
okay, interesting. So 2 years into your college career, you kind of find yourself deciding to no longer run with Michigan. What was next for you?
Yeah, it was a really interesting next 2 years because ultimately, I mean, like it was mostly some time off and just to kind of be with myself. I was super, super banged up when I left the team. I would remember like walking upstairs and just it being the most painful experience ever.
Mm,
Um, right before I left the team, I have pictures of my Achilles. One of them was like this, and the other one was like twice that size. And it was
jeez.
it was every like nick and bang you could have on every tendon and everything like that. Um, I pretty much had. So it was a solid like 6 months of really not doing anything at all before I could even step foot outside the door again. Um, and at that point, I was going through most of my junior year and into my senior year. It was just kind of running for myself. I knew I still wanted to run, but I didn't know at that time if I wanted to really compete and train really hard again
Mm,
without that support system.
mm.
Just having people around to push you. I mean, there's no environment quite like being on a team, and I'm sure you even can agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. So were you just coaching yourself at that point, or just kind of you weren't even like thinking much about it? You're just out there jogging around, and were you still doing workouts and stuff like that and kind of guiding your training?
Yeah, I was still trying to do some workouts, and I don't even know what kind of like my goals were at that point. I wanted to keep in shape,
Mm,
and there were some other guys that I was still rooting with that wanted to keep doing workouts as well that had left the team. For different reasons. But um, I think ultimately, by the time I was getting ready to graduate, I started looking at going to graduate school, and I
mm.
said, you know what, if I can go to graduate school somewhere else, I'll use up my eligibility and I'll try and get in shape for that. So at that point, it was like, okay, got to get like 5K, 10K ready, and then it was off to graduate school after that.
And where did you go to graduate school?
Yeah, so I was at the Citadel Military College in South Carolina.
Mm.
Um, not a lot of people have heard about it. And you might hear military college and go, whoa, that seems intense. And for undergraduates, it is. So there's a full military experience. It's basically like a military academy.
Mm, mm.
Um, but for graduate students, you are just entirely civilian. So I was going to school dressed like whatever I wanted, but the person sitting next to me was wearing a uniform. So it was very different. It was
Mm.
very, very different. But yeah, very enjoyable. I met my coach, Erin Leonard, there, and she's just an absolute legend. I love talking to Coach Erin, and I still, connect with her every once in a while, especially when I'm down in Charleston.
Mm.
Um, so my family actually moved to Charleston back in 2016. So right when I was going into my junior year, they moved to Charleston just to find the sun and start thinking about retirement. And that's why I went down there was to just be in state. I always thought, I could save some money, just go in state for my master's, and yeah, that's what I ended up doing,
Yeah,
and just lived at home.
what'd you get your master's in?
It was a master's in education. Yeah,
Okay.
so I was teaching high school biology right before I came here to CMU, where I'm at now. Um, but yeah, that was the whole goal was to go down and get a teaching degree, and thinking right after I graduated from the Citadel that I would start teaching right away and hopefully coaching. That was always a really nice perk, and something that I really will always still want to do is coach. Yeah.
So are you working full time right now? You are, right? Or no?
I am, yeah. So actually decided on more school, which was fun. So I'm getting my PhD at Carnegie Mellon now, working in a chemistry lab, and really enjoying it. But it's a long road, so I'm locked in for probably at least another 4.5 years, and I've already been here for a year and a half. So yeah, it's a long road.
So how's that been, kind of balancing taking running pretty seriously at this point in time and also, pursuing a PhD at Carnegie?
Yeah, it's been a learning process for sure. That's one thing you could look back on my if you follow. Obviously, you're on Strava, right? So there was about this 2-week period right before my half marathon this past fall where I like basically stopped running.
I
And
noticed that. Yeah.
yeah, it was like just the most hectic time of my kind of academic career at that point. So, yeah, it ebbs and flows for sure. But I think I've found kind of stable ground at this point where I'm able to, keep consistent with my mileage and my training and everything. But yeah, definitely a learning process, 100%. But
You
finding my
raced
feet
really
on
well
it.
in the half, despite, those 2 weeks where you were kind of in the
Yeah,
thick of it.
I was super scared.
65 was awesome.
Yeah, I was super stoked with that race. And I think having Alex Archer there, my teammate, to push me, I think was absolutely huge. But I was definitely nervous. So it was literally like the 14 days before that race, I ran, I think, a total of 40 miles. And up to that point, I was running 100-mile weeks.
Right. Normally
So
you'd be at like 200 going through that race.
yeah, it was really nerve-wracking, but
Yeah.
thankfully it just kind of worked out. And hey, maybe that's the new meta, right? You
Hey,
just take
down
2 weeks
weeks.
off. Yeah,
Down.
exactly.
Hey, you were
But
fresh,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And I know I think that really did make a difference. But yeah, man, the confidence was not at an all-time high right before that race. It just kind of worked out. So
Were things going well though, going into that race, prior to those 2 weeks?
definitely, yeah, I'd say I
Okay.
probably had the most consistent month of training I'd ever had. I think that month leading up to the 2 weeks that I had off right before the race, I had run like 395 miles or something like that, just under 400. So I'd never stacked weeks like that quite that consistently, especially that high of mileage. But yeah, workouts were feeling pretty decent. Obviously some ups and downs, as it always happens, especially with high mileage programs, kind of like we're running here. But yeah, obviously workouts went super great and the fitness was there. It was just a matter of getting out and ripping it.
Yeah, following that half, let's talk about Philly because that was an exciting race for you, and I know a lot of people are stoked for you on that one, including myself.
Oh, thank you.
I know you got it up maybe, but could you take me through a big or a week of workouts for you? Like, what was a big week for you leading into Philly that you kind of knew that you could run
Yeah,
fast?
let me pull it up here. I think I have an extra tab.
It's always fun to hear like the big weeks because that just gives you so much confidence, like having that
Ah,
big week.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Things were feeling really, really good for a while there. And I'm trying to find like something that's a little bit closer to the race too. Um, let's see here. Yeah, so like there was a week from like October 25th to the 31st. And do you want me to share my screen? That's another thing that I can do.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, if you want to do
Yeah,
that. Yeah, that'd
let's
be
let's
cool.
see if I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I might have to
Oh, hold on a
enable
sec.
it for me.
I
Yeah,
definitely got
yeah,
to
yeah.
allow you. Hold on. I'll just make you a co-host. That seems to work.
Okay, word. Okay, that should work.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Share my screen. See what's going on here.
Look at this. This is awesome.
All right, I just gotta pull this over here. Beautiful. Yeah, okay, so let's take a look at this. Yeah, and you can see like this was one of those workouts where sometimes she goes, sometimes she don't. I had like an okay workout, but I can remember not feeling perfect for this one. We had done some 1600-meter repeats, but I can remember being super, super tired at this point.
Mm.
And then being able to bounce back, later in the week. I definitely prided myself on like the long run workouts. I really, really enjoyed these types of workouts because it was just, that slow burn. And I
Yeah.
felt like I had kind of mastered at that point. But yeah, this was probably the big workout right before Philly that I was super stoked about. We ended up doing 5 loops on the lake, which is just too many loops on the lake,
It's a lot.
objectively.
It's a lot of loops.
Yeah, we had a bunch of people come out for it, so it broke it up really nicely. But we did 10 easy and then 10 kind of close to the marathon pace that I was looking for, and then another 5 easy after that. So ended up being a really
Okay.
big day.
And even the easies were not slow. Like I can tell just looking at this that you were going like 6, very low 6 pace. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, just looking at the miles, like,
easy to rip around the lake,
oof.
thankfully. Yeah, and
I
definitely
love
would
the
have
lake,
been.
man.
Yeah, it's a great place to train. Anyone that's like from out of Pittsburgh, if you were ever coming to this area and needed a good
Oh yeah.
workout, North Park Lake, 100%. That's got to be
Yeah.
the place to go.
It's perfect. Just some undulation, but like not crazy, not a crazy amount of elevation. I
It's
mean,
perfect race simulation, especially for a marathon. It's not going to be perfectly
oh yeah.
flat, right? And
Oh
force you to
yeah.
work over some hills, which is nice.
Yeah. Even leading into that workout, like what was that a big mileage week for you? I'm assuming it was, as it was kind of one of those peak weeks. You did 95. So, I mean,
Yeah, that one was a 95. And yeah, let's see, because there's the marathon's up there. But you can
yeah.
see, like, yeah, the week before that, I was only running 63. I ran 60 miles this week.
Uh-huh.
And this was the really, really down week kind of after the
All the
half
titles.
marathon. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so this was right before the half marathon that I'd run before
Mm.
Philly. And just a little tiny workout with Alex in the morning, the week of the race. And that was pretty much all I felt like I needed. Couple cycles through 3-2-1, just right at half marathon pace and kind of working down right along the South Side Trail, which was nice.
Yeah.
And it ended up going really, really well. But that was pretty much all the confidence that I needed just going into Project 13.1 up in New York. And I was just really, really stoked about this race.
That was an awesome race, man. I mean,
It,
you guys
it was a
balled
lot
out.
of
You
fun.
and Alex went off. I
Yeah,
mean, what did he end up running? Well, you guys were right with each other, kind of, right?
yeah, he ended up just out kicking me. So he ran just like a second faster than I did.
Oh man.
65:18. So, but yeah, it was just an awesome day. And I have to thank Alex again for taking it out as hard as he did because he fought really, really hard in the beginning. And I felt like I was kind of asleep for the first probably like 5 or 6 miles, just trying to play catch up. But I felt like I went out relatively conservatively and then just started to try and claw my way back. Just ended up going really, really well.
Did you kind of even split, or you kind of end up negative splitting, or?
Yeah, I think it was relatively even. There was 1 mile right around here that was a little bit slower, but I feel like we just kind of kept clicking them off. We had about 2 or 3 people in our pack pretty much the entire race, right up until the last probably like 3 miles. And Alex and I were able to put on a couple good surges to just break it down to about us two and one other guy. And it turns out the one other guy was a 150 half marathon, not half marathon, 800-meter runner. And I was like,
Wow.
absolutely no shot. Yeah,
Absolutely no shot if he's near you at the end.
yeah, that dude can kick hard. And he did. So yeah, he beat both of us.
Wow. Hey man, you've run a 2-minute 800, right?
Yeah.
I
I
saw
still
that
have
on Mile Split. There, a lot of the splits seemed way wrong, but like that one seemed right.
Oh God, that's tough. I've never broken 2 minutes in an 800
Oh,
in my
you were
life.
close too. You ran 262
Yeah,
in
I
Kentucky.
yeah, it was bad. I just still need to do that. Get that monkey off my back finally. I just have no speed in the legs whatsoever. But yeah, then it was back up to Philly, and this was
Yeah.
just probably the big highlight
Oh
of
yeah, show us
the
this,
past
man.
fall.
Everyone wants to see this.
Um, yeah, it was an awesome course, especially for like a first marathon. I think it was very forgiving. But the last probably I'd say probably 10 to 15K. We're kind of over these like kind of rolling hills and a net uphill on the way out, all the way up to Manayunk, where this kind of turnaround was. And
Mm,
then it was a 10K back to the finish line. And that's where I felt like I just got gobbled up. And
okay.
I think that's probably where the experience is going to come from next time. If I was ever to run Philly again, I think I'd approach it probably a little bit differently. But
Mm.
yeah, I just got gobbled up and ended up just barely hanging on for 220. So I was really, really stoked with the race overall, but you still wish you could get those, you know, 13 seconds back and just break another
Mm.
barrier. And I think
Yeah,
that was the only kind of stinging part for me.
just being so close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like just going through the whole race, like from the beginning to end, could you do that? Like, do you remember it? Was it vivid in your mind, or is it kind of?
If you asked me to talk about individual miles, it would be really, really hard.
Nah,
But
I don't. Nothing like that.
yeah, I could definitely talk about just like trends throughout the race. Because I can remember like the first like 3 to 4 miles, I remember people just getting out super, super hot. And I don't think that's uncommon for a big city marathon. One thing that my coach Juris now, Juris Silenieks, talked about in all these big city races is there's going to be this pack that goes out and runs, 2:15 pace for the first 10 miles, and about half of them are going to drop out of the race. And I was like,
It's how it goes every year for some reason.
yeah, I just looked at him and I was like, no way. Like that seems like ridiculous that many people would try that. And that's exactly what happened. Like I think there were probably 20 guys in front of me through 15K, 20K, and all of them just ended up stepping off the course at some point, um, which I thought was another really interesting kind of learning experience for the marathon. Was it's almost just an attrition battle, and like
Mm.
if you can just outlast other people, you're going to end up placing well. Um, but yeah, I remember it getting out really hot and just trying to stay conservative. And sure enough, people started coming back. And then I started working with some guy from Boulder, this guy named Lyle,
Mm.
who ended up being just like a really, really great guy. And we ran through just basically, I think it was like 15 or 16 miles together. And Lyle ended up having a great race. I think he ended up running like 219. Um, and right around 18 miles is when I felt like my legs were just dead. I couldn't lift them anymore. And it was strange because it wasn't like a super painful kick like
Mm.
feel. Like at the end of a
Mhm.
3K or a 5K, you're like, I want this to end so bad. It was just like a deep ache. Like
Mm.
everything was just harder to do. It was kind of like you're running through syrup or something. Um, and yeah, the last 10K, it was just kind of about holding on and just seeing what I could do over the last couple of miles. But yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
the end result of what it ended up being.
Mm. What'd you do nutrition wise? Did you have like Morton's, or you do like a little drink, or?
Yeah, I ended up choosing Morton's for my race, which actually
Yeah.
kind of surprised me. I didn't think that I was going to be able to tolerate it at all. Um,
Mm.
but that was what ended up working for me. And instead of mixing it with water, because my first workout, I ended up just trying Morton with water, immediately puked. Could not do it.
Really? Oh my
Um,
gosh.
but I tried it with Powerade. So I mixed it with something else, and that ended
Mm.
up making it so much more tolerable. So
Yeah.
I could get down a lot more volume and obviously fuel myself pretty well. So it was like a mix of Powerade, water, and Morton that I was taking in about 2 to 300 mils
Yeah.
um, every 5 or 6 miles, and that ended up
Okay.
working perfectly.
Yeah. Was that kind of a fine tuning process during your training block just to nail that down? Were you kind of doing that in your big workouts leading into the marathon, practicing your
Yeah,
nutrition?
yeah, I think that's one thing that we tried to emphasize a good bit was just getting the body ready to take in that much liquid, especially while you're running fast. I think it's good to practice, but yeah, definitely a couple of those big long run workouts where we're trying to do a good bit of race simulation. We practice with fluids, and our coach would kind of hand out bottles, or they'd set up a table, and we just kind of grab them as we went. And it ended up working out great. So we found out what
Mm.
we liked and what we could tolerate, and then we just took it with us into the race.
Yeah. So what'd you do after the race? Did you treat yourself to anything nice?
Oh, dude, I'm trying to think. I mean, I was in Philadelphia with my girlfriend's family,
Oh,
and
nice.
obviously my girlfriend. So that was super,
Yeah.
super fun. We all got to go out to dinner, which
Yeah.
was great. But honestly, I was really, really looking forward to just spending time with them. and then getting my body some rest, because moving after that was a struggle. It was so bad. I can remember getting to the tent after finishing the race and sitting down in a chair. And the moment I sat down, I was like, not getting up, not gonna happen, which was scary. But yeah, the next couple of probably like 10 days, I was having trouble getting out of my apartment because my legs were not working. It was tough.
Yeah, I don't know why, but like maybe this is just me personally, but I always feel like, oh, I'm gonna have so much fun after my marathon. It's gonna be it's gonna be great. And then I finish, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. I just feel like trash the whole day. Like, I mean, you just think you're gonna have so much fun.
Yeah, it rarely happens, and I feel like I should have learned my lesson. Have you run a 10K on the track before too?
I want to suffer a little bit. I haven't done it yet.
You got to do it. Got to do it. But I mean, I'd run a 10K on the track before, and I can remember being like pretty messed up for like 3 days. I don't know why I thought, yeah, I'll run the marathon. It'll be fine. No,
yeah, it'll be fine.
Just solid 2 weeks before I felt kind of normal again. That's nuts.
Did you have any like nice? You have a nice dinner after your marathon? You have any dessert?
Yeah. That's one thing I do not shy away from. I love dessert. It's definitely my favorite thing. But my girlfriend's family's favorite restaurant is Carrabba's. Not sure if you're familiar with this
personally
chain, but it's like an Italian kind of restaurant chain. They have great food. But yeah, Carrabba's was the move. Got plenty of food. That was really, really fun. Yeah, and just hanging out with them. But I really, really enjoyed that. And my vice for sure is ice cream. I love ice cream, and Sarah and I, my girlfriend, often go and get DQ all the time. Like that's
Dairy Queen's the best. What do you get? Blizzard?
I'm a Blizzard, 100%.
Oh, the Blizzards are so good.
That's
which one specifically?
See, I can kind of go rogue sometimes.
Okay.
I kind of mix it up every once in a while, but I'm a big fan of Reese's, Snickers, and M&Ms. I think those three kind of on a steady rotation.
Yeah, that's all you would need.
Yeah. And then Brewster's in Pittsburgh is kind of like my big thing too. So I don't really have a DQ around here, I don't think. So it's usually Brewster's when I'm in Pittsburgh, but if I'm on the road, DQ is usually most places.
Brewster's is great, honestly.
It's good stuff.
It's good. They like closed in my hometown like when I was younger, and it was tragic. I mean,
devastating.
It was devastating, man. Like I used to get like their like, man, I don't know if they called it a smoothie, but it was basically a milkshake. Like I don't know why they called it. They called it a smoothie, but it was just.
If it tastes good, man, that's all that matters.
It was awesome. It's like if you try to get a smoothie at like McDonald's, it's just like 100 grams of sugar. Like,
I mean, that's why you're doing it, honestly.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
At least the ice cream machine isn't broken at Brewster's all the time. You can at least guarantee that you'll get ice cream.
Yeah, McDonald's around Pittsburgh aren't great, man. They're not reliable. No, valid, shots fired. Agreed. Okay. You said you're coaching under Juris right now, tell me about that a little bit. Like how did that kind of start up, and getting into Pittsburgh Track Club, kind of what was that?
Yeah. So right when I got here to Pittsburgh, I was just kind of training by myself, and obviously knew that there were runners in the area that were kind of doing stuff. But Juris had kind of come up to me around February of last year and was pitching this idea of the Pittsburgh Track Club to me. And obviously it didn't take a lot of convincing at all. He was just like, yeah, we just want to get together a bunch of runners in the Pittsburgh area, try and rip some fast races and get a name for ourselves. So Juris started the program, and we've been growing pretty much ever since. We had a really great first summer. So we'd have people come out to, just kind of easy runs, and then more and more people were showing up to workouts and stuff like that. So definitely growing as a club, but we're celebrating our 1 year this week on Wednesday. So I guess the official birthday of the Pittsburgh Track Club is like the 16th or the 17th.
Yeah.
So celebrating 1 year this year, which is really fun.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah. How do you like, have you liked being coached under Juris? Has he kind of meshed well with you, in terms of your training styles, or how involved is he in your training as well?
Yeah. So Juris obviously comes with a lot of experience. So he hit the Olympic trials standard back in 2020, no, 2016. And
Mm,
2020 was
mm.
only 2 years ago. Good Lord. But yeah, back in 2016, he hit the OTQ. So I think just trusting him and having the experience that he had, getting his fitness to where it was, I think was pretty much all the convincing that I needed. And ultimately, like Juris was coached under the same kind of high school coach that I was. So we were brought
Oh,
up in very, very similar ways. So John
mm,
Wilkie was the head coach at North Hills High School. And by the time I was coming into high school, John Wilkie was retiring from North Hills officially and just becoming kind of this private coach that was coaching athletes in Western Pennsylvania. So honestly, I feel like Juris's training was very, very similar to the training that I had been kind of writing for myself and had up until uh, I started working with Pittsburgh Track Club. But he's been one of the most responsive coaches I've ever worked with. He's obviously come into every workout as a part and founder of the Pittsburgh Track Club and writing up workouts for us. But always checking in, making sure we're feeling okay, and adjusting workouts if needed. Um, but yeah, it's been honestly a match made in heaven. I think we could have asked for a better coach and founder for the club.
yeah. So would you say like one of your favorite parts of being coached under him is kind of just the fact that he kind of came under the same person as you, like John Wilkie?
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
100%. I think that makes a really big difference. I think we both think of our workouts and the training in very similar ways. So it's not hard for
Mm,
us to bounce ideas off of each other. If he writes up a workout or if I come up with a workout, what we would come up with for each of us would be relatively similar, right?
mm.
And then it's just, minor flares of personality that would, you know, make one adjustment here or there that would make the difference between the two of us. But yeah, I
Yeah, so
think that
there's a
makes a
little bit of
huge
like
difference.
compromising that sometimes maybe takes place where you are bouncing ideas and you kind of come to something in the middle or
Yeah, absolutely. I
yeah.
mean, I would definitely have to say Eurus is still the brains behind this entire organization, 100%. He's been a very fearless leader through this whole thing. But
Mm.
yeah, no, definitely. I think there's a lot of good chemistry on the team, even between um, myself and Eurus, and then my other teammates as well, Alex, Nick Wolk. Both guys, I feel like, are thriving a lot under the kind of coaching that Eurus is providing. So yeah, we're happy with the results. So we're just going to continue working with what we got.
Yeah, so where do where do you see yourself? But this is kind of one of those classic interview questions, but where do you see yourself like 5, 10 years down the line? Do you see yourself kind of, I mean, obviously you got to get your PhD, so you're going to be sticking around for some time, but do you plan to stick with PTC and, in terms of, big racing goals or dreams that you have, do you want to you want to go to the Olympic trials, right? That's one of the things, but yeah, what do you have on that horizon?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think the goals are constantly evolving. I think one thing that I'm really thankful for the Pittsburgh Track Club is kind of realizing what that ceiling is going to be. And I still don't know where it is, but it's really easy when you're working with a bunch of like-minded guys that all really, really want to try hard in their training and give everything that they have to start pushing that ceiling higher and higher and higher. But yeah, I mean, obviously, the first thing that our team is set out, what the Pittsburgh Track Club is built for, is heading to the Olympic trials in 2024. So just to have that box checked, hopefully this fall, I think would be a really, really
Okay.
great goal for all of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And then seeing what we can do because we're not going to limit ourselves there. I think if you would have asked me a year ago or maybe even 2 years ago, like, hey, would you hang it up after you hit the OTQ? Like, I
Mm,
might have said, yeah, like
mm,
that's the where I'd be happy retiring. And obviously, I'd still compete, right? But
mm.
um, at this point, I think it's really easy for me to talk to Eurus or talk to Alex or talk to Nick and be like, why not go and try and mix it up, right? Like, actually go to the trials and try and compete. Um, I think it would be a great thing to try and become come in one of the top 100 or um, just race well at the trials. I think that would be a great goal, not just be happy to be there.
Yeah. And it's in Paris, right? Or no?
Oh
No,
gosh.
that's where the actual Olympics is taking place, I think. I don't know
Yeah,
where I don't even know if they said anything on the Olympic trials yet
I
for
don't think they've
2020.
set a venue
Yeah.
for the U.S. trials, no. But yeah,
Yeah.
Paris, 100% the
Paris.
Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah. So you said you are training with your main partners are Alex Archer, right? And Nick Wolk. You,
yeah,
how do you guys kind of complement each other in training? Where do you kind of get your ass busted? And on the contrary, where do you kind of, you're, leading the charge?
yeah. I'm very thankful for my position on the team. I've always thought it would be too intimidating and too scary to be the best guy on the team. Yeah, honestly, if I had to rank myself out of the three guys that are competing right now with Alex and Nick, I'd say I'm the bottom, 100%. Like, and I honestly, I like being in that position because it's a lot easier to just say, okay, I just have to hang on, right? And I take my turn and try and lead some reps every once in a while. But I think one thing that Alex Archer does so well is he's just so strong. Tempo workouts, he can just click them off and just carry us up hills. Like it's bananas to watch him work. And then Nick Wolk, I mean, he's cracking on a sub 4 mile at some point here soon. So he's got a ton of speed. So whenever it comes to those types of workouts where we have to get moving, we can rely on Nick to really pull us through. Um,
Mm.
and you know what? If I had to pick where I am on the spectrum of those two, I'm at least in between them. I feel like I might have a little bit more speed than Alex. Sorry, Alex. But um, he's definitely stronger than I am.
Yeah.
And Nick, I think he's as close to, I mean, the class of our country
Oh
as it
yeah.
gets. I think he's just an insane talent, and he's just both that deadly mix of insanely strong and just insanely quick. He's just not someone
Mm.
you want to be around with 300 to go.
He's doing the mile next week? Is
I
that
think that's the plan. Yeah. So
okay?
he'll do the mile. He's thinking about pacing us for the 5K as well
Pacing
later
for
on.
you guys for the fight. You and Alex?
Yeah, exactly right.
Okay, nice. Are you and Alex have similar goals for that as well? I know you said you wanted low 14, but I'm assuming he probably wants the same.
Exactly right. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
he's going to be aiming for that. This will be his track opener.
Mm,
So
mm.
yeah, we're really stoked to see what he can do. And honestly, anywhere in the vicinity of the low 14s would be a huge day for either of us.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're stoked.
Um, cool. I'll get into some more general questions here, and then we'll just kind of close it out with some more fun questions. But
100%.
first of all, do you listen to music or podcasts while you're on?
No, actually, I usually don't. I am strictly a hear the sounds of nature and the pitter patter of my feet kind of guy. And that's nothing against people that like to listen to music while they run. I think that's totally fine. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of what I've always done, and I really like the quiet that going out for my run does bring. It's a nice chance
Mm,
to get away from my phone, and because I'm usually staring at a computer screen all day, anyways. So being able to turn off like that is something that I really value.
I agree. Uh, what kind of meals do you have pre and post race? You kind of It's
Dude,
kind of always important. I feel like I haven't figured it out yet myself.
no, yeah, I go back and forth all the time, and I'm definitely someone who tries not to be too ritualistic with pre-race, especially. Um, I think for me and my personality, if I got into that kind of stuff, I would just be like way too nervous, and it would be so
Mm,
much nervous
mm.
energy. It's like, oh man, if I missed that one thing, I'm supposed to have a bagel 35 minutes before my race. Like I would just be a nervous wreck. Um,
Yeah.
so I try and just do whatever I'm feeling. Honestly, what's crazy, I've had pizza the night before like really big workouts recently, and it's worked out incredibly well. So, I
Pizza's
mean,
good. I mean, it checks the boxes. Like you get your
yeah,
carbs, I don't know. Seems
good
fine to
calorie
me.
dense. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, I had
But
pizza last night and I balled. I had a good workout today, so
I saw that. Yeah, it looked great. So yeah, it doesn't matter.
yeah, it doesn't matter, I guess. I agree. Sometimes if you think about it too much, it just starts to worry you a little bit.
I think that's the truth. Yeah, I think you just got to hang loose with it and just do what feels right for your body at the time. There's some things that I like probably would stay away from,
Mm,
obviously, but like,
mm.
yeah, honestly, you check all the boxes of get some carbs, get some good sleep. I think you're going to be just fine before a race.
Okay. Yeah. How many nights a week do you have ice cream?
Oh gosh. I usually have some kind of dessert, like most nights. Like,
Yeah, me
yeah,
as well.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I won't even lie about it. Yeah. No, I do not shy away from that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so this call I'll probably be grabbing an ice cream sandwich.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I still have to hit my run, but there will be something sweet at some point later in the evening.
You're running after this?
Yeah, I do.
Oh
Yeah,
my,
it's been a busy day here at the lab,
wow.
but
Not a
yeah,
double, just your first run of the day.
yeah, first run. It'll be an easy one. Probably just an hour. Just
Oh
call
man,
it a
now I
day.
feel bad.
Oh, no, no, no. This is perfect.
Okay. What's your favorite workout? And on the contrary, your most hated workout?
Oh, God, this is so tough. I should have been able to anticipate this type of question. Um,
Everyone wants to know. I want to know.
yeah. Um, some of my favorite types of workouts are like a good mix of speed and strength. Um, I found for me that starting a really long tempo effort with some fast stuff, like some 200 or 300-meter hills, or even just some hard sprints, is a really great way to get my body going. And I think it's just that kind of mental exercise of saying, oh, I have to run fast, and now I get to slow down. That kind of takes the shock out of the system first like 5 minutes, that tempo that you might be really uncomfortable.
Mm.
So I've really, really enjoyed those types of workouts, and then coming back after, like 4 miles or 5 miles of tempo effort and then doing some 400s afterwards. I think that's like probably a
Okay.
really, really great workout.
When you say tempo, what do you mean by that? Because I've heard that used in many different ways. Like is tempo for you like threshold, like that hour effort kind of thing, or is it like
Yeah,
okay,
that's
okay,
exactly right. So definitely a
yeah,
little bit faster than my marathon pace.
yeah,
But yeah, probably even closer to half marathon pace for me.
okay.
Yeah.
So like would that be like 4:55 for you? 4:50?
Yeah, getting to right around like five flat for me right now
Okay,
is kind of
okay,
my comfort zone.
yeah.
This is something Alex and I go back and forth all the time about. It's like our ability to tempo at actual half marathon pace, we can't do it. I have no idea why. That's probably just like a mental hump that I have to get over. But
Mm,
yeah, I'm usually like a couple seconds short of my half marathon pace for tempos.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
So your tempo's a little bit slower than your half pace.
yeah, exactly right.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha. Yeah. I guess on the other hand, what do you hate the most?
Um, Straight tempos, 100%.
Straight tempos.
Yeah, I think those are
Really?
probably the toughest.
So
Yeah,
your favorite is tempos with speed, and your most hated is just tempos.
straight up tempos. Yeah, if I ever had to do just like a 6 or an 8 mile tempo, like that would be something
Okay.
I'd look at it on the list like of upcoming workouts and I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, that's it. But I don't know. Like, I feel like one thing that I really appreciate about PPC too is I think we can build each other's confidence really, really well. So there's really not a whole lot of workouts that I feel like either any of us are really afraid of at this point.
Mm,
Like
mm.
we might go, oh, it's gonna be hard, but it's all workouts that we look like, all right, we're gonna rip this 100%. Like no problem. It's gonna suck, but we're gonna do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So when you do the tempos and the speed, your tempos are shorter, obviously, right? Because you're adding speed at the end. So you do
Yeah,
you would maybe do a 25-minute tempo and then throw the speed on instead of like a 45 to an hour tempo.
yeah, exactly right. If we're gonna do
Yeah.
any kind of speed afterwards, generally we'll either break up the tempo and we might do some Ks or just repeat miles even,
Mm,
um,
mm.
or just probably like 20 or 25 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever do like double threshold days? Just out of
I
curiosity.
have never done that.
I've always wanted to do it.
It seemed like a really interesting experiment.
Yeah.
I just know based on how I feel after those types of days, like my body just kind of needs the rest. Like a
Mm,
good
mm.
double is usually a really good thing for me. So I'll typically double on workout days. But
Do you think that helps with your recovery, doing a double like after your
for
workout later in the
for me,
day?
it does. For me, it
Mm,
definitely does.
mm,
And I think that's again just a product of the high mileage. I think I just respond really well to that. And some people don't, which is totally
mm.
fine. I know some people that just like to work out and then just let their body rest. I totally respect that. But I think as long as you're prioritizing sleep while you're doing that kind of stuff, doubling anytime like that,
Mm.
yeah, it should be a good thing for you.
Okay. So speaking of recovery outside of your doubles and, obviously, like you said, sleep, which is always the most important thing.
Yeah,
Are there any other things you use to help you recover in terms of like nutrition or like gear or, you know?
yeah. I've really tried to focus on nutrition the last probably like 2 years, and knock on wood, like I haven't had a serious injury since really I was in college,
Mm,
thankfully. And I think a lot of that has to do with just really taking seriously what I'm eating every single day. And it's not like at all worrying about what I'm eating, it's just how much of it I'm eating. Because I was realizing I just wasn't getting enough. So I think a lot of protein has been like a really big difference for me. And then prioritizing sleep, I think has been really, really big as well. But I guess one thing that might be like gear related, I bought myself a pair of UFOs. Have you ever worn an
UFOs,
UFO
yeah, the
before?
UFO
Yeah,
slides. Yeah, they're
the
quite
best.
nice, aren't they?
I love those. Yeah,
Oh
they're
yeah.
super, super great. I wear those around the house
Yeah.
exclusively. So
Oh yeah.
I really enjoy that.
I gotta recommend Decker's X Lab for like walking around campus and stuff. Like
Oh, okay.
you gotta check them out. I mean, they have like pretty stylish boots. Uh and yeah, I mean I would recommend this isn't a sellout. They're great. I use them for recovery. Like
That's
I mean,
sick. Is
obviously if
it?
Deckers wants to sponsor me, I mean by all means, but they
Do
are
it.
nice, I will say. You
Do
should
it.
definitely check them out if like I don't know, maybe you already have comfy shoes you walk around campus on and stuff, but
I
or
I
maybe you're
do
not
wear
walking around
like
campus right now. I mean,
I do wear orthotics in my feet, so it's like the big thing for me is like arch support. So do those
okay.
shoes actually like have like built-in arch support? Is that kind of the idea behind it?
They're just they just have like a triple density, like three different foams under the foot, like
Okay.
kind of supposed to like I don't know, it's all explained on the site. I got them for Christmas and they're great. I mean, I love them, but
Absolutely. I take
yeah,
your
you
review.
could probably slip your orthotics in there. I mean, the sole is nice though because it's got like fur in it, so it's like nice
Oh,
and
I
warm
gotcha.
in there.
I
Yeah.
like that. That's pretty sweet.
Anyway, um, what's your favorite race distance, and then most hated or your least favorite,
Ah,
I suppose.
goodness. Um,
I gotta
I
guess
gotta.
half or full, right? For the
Oh, 100% at this
yeah.
point. Yeah. I'm waiting for the day I start having to do ultras because I realize that the longer the better for me. I found.
Mm, mm.
And it's just as I discovered the longer events, it's just keep pushing up the distance. But yeah, definitely half marathon now is where I've kind of found my mojo. I really enjoy those distances, but I still really enjoy getting on the track. I think that's one thing that I've found in the last couple of months while we've been racing indoor. I love racing on the track. I think it's a
Mm.
lot of fun. Um, but yeah, those shorter distances, man, they kill me. They're really, really tough, and I found that I just get super uncomfortable super quick in a mile. It's 400 meters in, and I'm like, my chest is on fire. I feel like I lost my legs about 100 meters back on the last turn. So, yeah, they're tough.
That's a tough feeling when you get like quarter way through a fast race and you're already hurting. That was how I
Yeah,
felt my 3K this last week. It was not good. I got like
it's
600 in
tough,
and I was like,
man.
man, I feel like trash.
Yeah, it just feels like a dead sprint to me now. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it's just kind of rewiring the brain to run fast again.
run fast.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then hopefully big gains after that.
amen. I think that's the whole idea, right? Get to
Yeah,
slow down. It's easy.
make your fastest pace, the change, the delta in between your
Yeah,
slowest and your fastest bigger. I've been reading this like running book, and like one of the guys he was all about that. Like he would do these really fast 200s, but he was training for a marathon. And it would just I don't know, kind of crazy.
might be something to it, man.
Yeah, man. I think there is definitely. Um, okay. Let's see. Running shoe rotation. I'm kind of a running shoe nerd, so I was just curious. Do you always work out in the super shoes?
Uh, so I've recently been doing my workouts in next percents. And I've really, really enjoyed that.
Not
So
the alpha flies.
not the alpha flies, no, not recently.
Okay. Okay.
I've kind
Okay.
of saved those for racing now, and right before the Philly Marathon, I had a couple workouts where I wore them just to break them in because I'd never worn them before. Um, but yeah, generally my philosophy too is like train heavy, race light. So once you know that you can operate in a shoe really well, like I probably won't ever wear alpha flies ever again until I race next,
Hmm. Hmm.
because I know they work. So I'll try and train a little bit heavier. And even the next percents, they're pretty light, but they're still heavier than the alpha flies. And when I can, I'll
Okay.
just wear pegs. I'll just wear pegs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe for the big sessions, you'll whip out the next percents in the future, but otherwise you'll stick to your pegs.
Yeah. Try and train
Okay.
heavy, and then just get used to carrying that weight with you. Make you a
Hmm.
little bit stronger, and then get ready to rip on the harder workouts, and then the races for sure. Feel a little
Yeah,
bit lighter.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I'll ask a few more and then we'll just go into some fun stuff here.
Okay.
Let's see. How involved are you in strength work? Do you do a lot of that outside of your running, or do you feel that's an area that you could improve upon, or?
Definitely. Yeah. I do a good bit of like personal kind of rehab and minor strengthening stuff for myself. So after my Achilles injury um, in college and kind of more recently, I've been trying to do a lot more of these eccentric calf raises just to strengthen those muscles in that area. So that's one thing that I do for myself, just kind of personally. And then at home, I literally own one 25-pound dumbbell, just one. Um,
All you
they're
need, man.
expensive. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
They
what do
are
you do?
expensive. Way
Yeah,
too expensive.
yeah. I don't get it, but yeah. So I think that's one area that I could probably improve on quite a bit. But it's not something that try to focus on too much. I think it's um, a good supplement, but it's never something that I'd want to try and like become sore from,
Mm,
that I
mm,
can't work out the next day. I think
right.
that's kind of always the focus, is just supplement, and not take away from the running aspect of it.
Does yours kind of feel the same way about that?
Eurus is very pro building strength, 100%.
Okay.
So one thing that Pittsburgh Track Club has been doing is we're working with NovaCare Rehabilitation,
Mm,
and we kind
plug
of
them.
got a nice partnership going with them. They're great, great people.
Yeah.
And we go and lift with them every couple of weeks now too. Usually every 2 weeks, and definitely at least once a month. But they've been giving us some great exercises to kind of do on our own, just to build overall strength and stability in all the core running muscles, which has been really great.
Awesome. Uh, who's your favorite athlete? Do you have a favorite athlete? Doesn't have to be running, but I suppose you could do running, and if you had something else, you could say that too.
Oh gosh, that's so tough. Hmm.
There's a lot of pretty
Well,
cool people out there.
yeah, I mean, I watched the Michael Jordan documentary, and I'm
Hmm.
totally blanking on what the heck the name of that
Oh, Last
when
Dance. Last
yeah,
Dance.
Last Dance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I was converted after watching that. I'm
yeah.
not honestly a huge basketball fan ever. Like, I don't really watch basketball a whole lot, but that definitely opened my eyes to the legend that is Michael Jordan. 100%. And I get a lot of flack for this, 100%. But Tom Brady, 1,000,000% is a goat. Like,
Tom Brady. Okay. Yeah.
especially
All right.
from being from Pittsburgh, he has tormented the Pittsburgh Steelers for a number of years. But yeah, I love his mentality. I think kind of this underdog story that he really attached himself to was just really cool to follow. Being a Michigan guy too, I
Mm,
think is
mm.
really easy for me to fall in love with. But yeah, I think he's really really solid. Um, and if I had to pick a favorite runner, um, dude, you can't not appreciate Nick Willis's story.
Oh, he's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, another Michigan guy. But yeah, an absolute legend in the sport, and to break 4 minutes in a mile 20 years in a row is absolutely
Yeah,
disgusting.
absolutely bonkers. And he's
Yeah,
broken for like 60, I forget the number, it was something in the 60s.
it's an absurd amount of times. It's too many
Yeah.
times
A
for a
lot of
runner,
a
most
lot of
likely.
those times too were like low 350. Like
Yeah,
it wasn't just like barely breaking it. It was like low 350 like half the time. It's
yeah, exactly.
crazy.
I mean, silver and a bronze in the Olympics, right? I mean, just an absolute tank.
He's a
So
cool
yeah,
guy too. Just
he's really, really nice. I've gotten to
yeah,
run with him a couple of times.
you have.
Yeah, going
That's
back and
very
forth to
cool.
Michigan. But yeah, so it's Nick Willis out there. Obviously, get to run Mason every once in a while. I've gone out to Ann Arbor, and I've probably run with him like once or twice since I started coming here to Pittsburgh.
Mm.
And I know Ben Flanagan is actually coming back to Ann Arbor pretty soon too. And Ben is obviously just an absolute legend. He's a great guy. But I go back and forth between Pittsburgh and Ann Arbor. That's where Sarah, my girlfriend, lives.
Okay.
So every once in a while, if I'm out there, I like trying to shoot them a text and hop into some of their runs with them.
Oh man, that's awesome. You got their numbers. That's very cool.
It's a Michigan connection, baby.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Best.
All right. We'll close it out here. I'm just gonna give you some I'm gonna give you one or the other and you tell me which one you prefer. It's pretty simple.
Okay.
All right. So first of all, track or road?
Roads.
Okay. Indoor, outdoor track?
Indoor. I might catch some heat for that.
Indoor. Okay. You get, is it 200 meter indoor or 300 meter? I don't know if you've even done a 300 meter. I have. It was pretty awesome, but
I've actually raced exclusively on 300-meter indoor tracks this season so far, which is
really
crazy. Yeah, my
I
first
didn't
two
know
races
that.
were 300-meter tracks. Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I love it. I just think indoor is a really cool environment. It's just different from outdoor. I love racing fast outdoor, but the environment indoor is different from anything else, obviously, in running. So I like it a lot.
Yeah. Cross country or track?
Cross country.
Okay.
Another great vibe. I just love the team atmosphere of cross country. Track always felt a little bit more individual, but being with the boys, can't beat it.
Agreed. Split shorts or half tights?
Split shorts for me.
Okay. Do you ever whip out the half tights?
Oh yeah. I definitely have a couple pair. But it's usually when laundry is getting low, that's when they start creeping into my rotation a little bit more.
That's how you tell that you don't like them as much.
Yeah.
Running hat or no hat?
I've been wearing a hat recently, so I gotta go hat.
Okay. Backwards or forwards?
Forwards, 100%.
Do you ever take it? Do you ever put it backwards in your, on the last rep?
I can't do it. It's not cool enough.
Sometimes 100%. People like do something like for the last rep, they feeling like it'll help them go faster, like rip off his shirt. Like my friend Patrick, like he'll throw his hat off in the last like lap of a rep. It's hilarious.
Whatever gets you going, man.
Yeah. Tempos or speed work?
Tempos, bread butter.
Okay. Even though it's also your most hated.
You love to hate it.
Long runs or workouts?
Workouts. Oh, that's tough. I like long runs, but
you do the long run workouts sometimes, so you kind of get the best of both.
That's the correct answer.
Long run workouts. How many times do you do long run workouts out of curiosity? Is that like a once a month type of thing, or?
We'll try and shoot for like every other week usually. And when we're in a marathon cycle, not a whole lot during 5K, 10K work. But yeah, definitely in the marathon cycle, we'll mix those in.
That's funny because Juris told me not to do long run workouts when I showed him my training plan. He's like, it takes too much time to recover. I was like, all right, fair enough. I took them all out.
Maybe I'm letting out industry secrets that I should.
It's probably different though, because marathon versus what I'm doing, which is train for like 5K. I think it's way different.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Half marathon or marathon?
Oof. It's like picking which child is your favorite. Marathon. I'll go the marathon.
Okay. Could you see that changing?
I don't think so. I really enjoy the half marathon, and I feel like it's a great distance for me. But I feel like with the marathon being my major goal, I feel like I'll love it even more after reaching the goals that I want to kind of hit for myself. So.
Okay. Gotcha. I guess, okay. That one was on coaching. That's not relevant yet, even though you want to coach at some point.
Definitely. I would love it.
Okay. Would you rather coach an individual or a team when you first coach?
Probably a team. I like that atmosphere. I like working with a group and getting the dynamic of everybody and learning everybody's names and the ins and outs of everybody. I think that's the really cool part of being a big team coach.
Do you have any team in particular you would want to coach? Would you want to go back to your high school, be an assistant, or you're just, you don't know?
I mean, it's always sounds very nostalgic and storybook like to go back
Mm,
to your alma mater. But no, I don't think I'm tied to anywhere. I think anywhere that would give me a chance to show what I could do with the program would be an awesome opportunity.
all right. Conservative racing or front running?
I'm definitely more conservative. I don't like to lead
Okay.
until I have to.
Okay. Like mid pack,
Wherever I'm safest, I'm not going
wherever
to
you're
step on any
safest.
toes.
Where were
I gotta
you?
take
Where were
care of
you
that.
in Akron?
Uh, Sitting mostly near the back.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Sunday long runs or Saturday long runs? You do Sunday, right?
Saturday, it's got to be.
Really?
Sunday is for
Really?
recovery and relaxing. I can't do it.
I
Saturday's got
agree.
to be the day.
But doesn't PTC do Tuesday, Friday, Sunday?
Um,
Or has that changed? That has changed, hasn't it?
it depends on the week. We'll
Okay.
shake it up, but if we do like a hard workout on Tuesday and Friday, we'll just take an easy long run on Saturday. Um,
Okay.
and then the following week we do probably like a hard workout middle of the week and then a long run workout on Saturday.
Okay. So you'll do only 2 workouts in the week, including the long run workout when you do those long run workouts.
I found that works best for me. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much how we like to work.
Okay. Cool. And then lastly, training or racing?
Training. It's got to be training. It's where the money's at. 100%. Build character, build yourself, learn about everything that you're capable of in training. Racing's the
Yeah.
fun part.
Racing is the fun part. I agree. All right. I mean, that's it. Do you have any, I think you might have mentioned something earlier, but do you have any pieces of advice for runners looking to maybe take things to the next level, being someone who's had a lot of success recently and, has big aspirations?
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, honestly, I think the biggest thing is just kind of believing in yourself and betting on yourself. I think if you're willing to put in the work, I think you're capable of a lot of different things. So just believe in yourself, stay committed to, the road in front of you, and I think big things are coming.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Colin. It was nice talking to you, and I'm sure I'll see you sometime soon. I mean, I'm bound to come to a PTC practice eventually.
We'd love to have you, brother. Absolutely. Good luck with the rest of the season. Love to have you out for some runs. We'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Yeah, you too. Good luck.
All right, brother. See you soon.
See you, man.